You're on Zoom and you're laying back. You're like, yeah, this is a good angle. So good. It's good or great. Oh, chilly. I think you're awesome. That's chilly. I interviewed him before. He's so nice. He looks like a Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna take one like this. You okay? You all right?
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5.
I do. We'd rather put good foot stops. Okay. I understand if you don't, but I would welcome you to come. I think I sent you an invite. Well, I appreciate that. Sometimes I get naive. I don't appreciate that. I don't know, it's like a 10-year-old
You need help?
I don't need to hit you hard. I'm just making sure you need it. Early.
Okay.
You're good. This is Aaron.
I'm Aaron Freeman. It's so nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, and thank you for resending me.
You're welcome. I'm sorry you didn't get them the first time. I can only imagine it's the city servers or something.
It was
the
weird.
issue.
Yeah, it was really weird. I got them, but I couldn't open up the attachment. So this was great. Thank you so
So
much.
you were important for many, many reasons, but specific to this event, you are my person that's going to get us started on time.
Okay.
And the governor is on a really tight schedule. We've got to have him out of here by 1:45, so that's why it's hopefully he's here on time, so we can start on time. So I'll just,
Has everyone else checked in that's on the program?
I haven't, the governor, I haven't seen
Mayor's
Mayor
here.
Kincannon yet.
She's here.
And I'm about to go speak to Pastor Arnold real quick.
Okay, very good.
Other than that, we're good. And then if anything happens and you lose them, I got another copy here of
Okay.
everybody's points. But thank you.
All the teams reporting center here in Knoxville.
That's the future. That's the rendering.
Looks good. Looks real good.
It's gonna look different for sure. It really is. They got a lot of work to do there now. Yeah, they do. They got most of it inside. We walked around inside while ago. Oh, they've done a lot inside. It's all covered.
She's big on it. She's big.
Oh, really?
wanted to be able to put this, how are you?
A little stressed today, but good.
Okay. You mind if I put that there?
No, not at all. Hey, Mayor, I'll just take mine back.
It's good. This is a.
You can put yours on top of mine. Okay,
I'm
cool.
second, and you're first, so.
You're ready when you are.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think that's fair to say. I'll tell everybody.
Here, I'm just bringing you a clip.
My friend, good to see you. How are you, my friend? Doing great. Good to see you. Now, are we masked on up here or masked
I
off?
think we can be masked up. It's going to be easier for people to hear you.
Okay.
And there are what's up here to what's up.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. If I could have everyone's attention, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for being here today. I am Gwen McKenzie. I am the 6th District City Council Representative and Vice Mayor. It's an exciting day for Knoxville as we gather today for the groundbreaking of the Dogan-Gaither Flats. Dogan-Gaither Flats will aim to provide a future hope and a second chance to males returning to Knoxville from incarceration. And it's important for us to understand the historical significance of this property. You know that this property is actually what has been considered part of the historical land that was African American at one time. I'd like to recognize Reverend Renee Kessler, President of the Beck Cultural Exchange Center. I know that she's here somewhere, who put together the following rich history of what was once known as the Dogan-Gaither Motor Court. Let's give her a round of applause because she does so much to make sure that our African American history here in Knoxville, Tennessee is preserved. So according to Reverend Kessler, paying tribute to the historic Dogan-Gaither Motor Court, which first opened in the early 1950s during the days of segregation, Dogan-Gaither Flats will provide a source of redemption in an area with a rich African American history here in Knoxville. For some background on the historical significance, this Jessamine address was the second location of the important motel known as the South's most exclusive, Tennessee's finest, in the heart of Knoxville for colored tourists, that hosted patrons such as Ray Charles, Cab Calloway, and 5 Freedom Riders after being forced to move from its original location at East Vine Avenue as part of the Downtown Loop urban renewal project that would become James White Parkway in the early 1960s. It was listed in publication for Negro Travelers, the Newark-based nationwide hotel association directory and guide to travelers, like publications such as the famous Green Book Guide for Traveling African Americans. Dogan-Gaither Flats' tendency on Jessamine is a fitting tribute and an intentional act of preserving Knoxville's rich cultural history, as this groundbreaking is indeed a historical moment in time for this area here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So with that said, again, I want to welcome you here. Thank you for being here, and I'd like to now ask you to please join me in recognizing and welcoming to the podium the Honorable Mayor India Kincannon.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor McKenzie. You have been working so hard on behalf of your district and the whole city. I appreciate all your efforts today and throughout the rest of the year that you've been working so hard. I would be remiss, I know there's a lot of elected officials here, and I believe our state delegation will be introduced by the governor probably, but I want to recognize my city council. Lauren Ryder's here, Tommy Smith, Charles Thomas, and are there, please raise your hand, city council members. Thank you so much for being here, and to the other city council members who, without whom we wouldn't be here today, because the city of Knoxville is a big partner in this, and I'm really proud of that. I also want to recognize my Director of Housing and Neighborhood Development, Becky Wade, and Beth Bacon, the city's housing manager. Please raise your hands. They are the housing experts who helped work with the partners. Round of applause to the city staff and city council members. They worked really closely with the developer to get city funds for the project, and the city of Knoxville is contributing almost $500,000 to the renovation of this building. Also want to give a shout out to former Mayor Randy Tyree, who's joining us today. Mayor Tyree, thank you for being here. Always good to see you. So this $500,000 that the city is contributing is part of our overall effort to add more affordable and supportive housing in our community for veterans, for seniors, for people struggling with homelessness due to addiction and mental health issues. But the mission of this project is to help formerly incarcerated people re-enter society. And as you'll hear later today, it's a huge need in our community. I want to tell you about someone I met earlier this week named Nate. He's a Knoxville man who grew up here and had a very traumatic childhood. His father committed suicide when he was just a little boy. And while he was a teenager, he got into all kinds of trouble, in and out of juvenile detention. And when he turned 18, he was charged and sentenced to 10 years in prison for drug crimes. And so he served his time and recommitted to living life and being a prosperous, law-abiding member of the community. But when he came back out to Knoxville, he had a hard time finding a place to live. He applied to 10 jobs, got no interviews. He applied to 10 more jobs, nothing, no response at all. He applied to over 75 jobs, just entry-level jobs, and finally, one employer took a chance on him. He invited him to church. Nate accepted. They had a frank conversation. This employer gave him a job, became a mentor, brought him into his family, and now today Nate is a successful member of our community, well employed, serving our community at the Emerald Youth Foundation as a building maintenance person, and he credits his mentor to saving his life. Unfortunately, what happened for Nate is not so common. And what happened for many other people, they come out of prison and they don't have that structured support. They don't have the opportunity to work and re-enter society successfully. So the mission of this project is so important. And I am so thrilled that the Fourth Purpose Foundation can provide the supportive path for more Nates of Knoxville. Thank you. The building is just one part of what is going to make this successful. The wraparound support services that keep people housed while they strengthen their life and work skills for independent living takes many people and partnerships. So as your mayor, I am grateful for our community partners like Helen Ross McNabb, the Volunteer Ministry Center, Knoxville Leadership Foundation, and HomeSource East Tennessee, who create and manage supportive housing in our community. And I'm really glad to welcome Fourth Purpose Foundation and the Men of Valor on board as partners in Knoxville's community-wide effort. The city has invested $480,000 in the Dogan-Gaither Flats to help keep the rent and supportive services affordable for the men who work through this year-long program. Including this project, the city has invested almost $4.5 million from the Affordable Rental Development Fund, these are all local dollars, in supportive rental housing projects, housing that comes with support services that help people stay in housing. Our community also relies a great deal on federal funds, CDBG and home funds, which the city uses to keep housing affordable for residents to prevent homelessness and keep people in their homes through many local programs that serve both city and county residents, and that has been especially important during the pandemic. Incarceration removes individuals from society, disconnects them from their community in ways that can be difficult to undo once the person has paid his or her debt. People with criminal records can have trouble getting leases, they can have trouble getting jobs and access to social services, but the support that people receive in conjunction with this housing will bring them back into the community, to work jobs, to support their families, to join churches and neighborhood groups, to vote, and to fully exercise their rights as citizens, to serve as positive role models to their children and others. So thank you, Josh Smith. Where are you, Josh? Thank you, Josh Smith. Thank you for living your values and committing your efforts to helping create a more equitable community right here in Knoxville, in which we work together to decrease recidivism and increase the rates of success. Everyone deserves redemption, a second chance to serve your community and give back to the people who raised you, who taught you, the people who believe in you. The state of Tennessee has been a strong supporter of this project, and today we are honored to have our governor here with us for the groundbreaking. So at this time, please help me welcome Governor Bill Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for being out here today. This is a very important and a special event, in particular for me. I get a little emotional thinking about this. So some 20 plus years ago, I got involved in an organization called Men of Valor, and I joined the board. I became a mentor. I befriended many of the folks that you see in this crowd right now that are connected to Men of Valor. Most importantly, I began to understand as I befriended incarcerated individuals and then started a process of engaging with those that worked at Men of Valor to help them with their second chance. I began to have a deep understanding of how reentry plays a very critical and important role in society. So as I've said many, many times, 95% of the people sitting in our prisons and in a jail cell will get out, and they will reenter our communities. And the way we create an environment for them to reenter will determine the safety of our communities as those folks reenter. I learned that through relationships and through sitting with people in prison and then watching them leave prison and watching the different paths they took depending on the support system that was around them when they left prison and came back into society. That's why this is so important to me, because this has been something that's been in my heart for decades. And my personal relationship with Men of Valor and the men and women who have served there, and then my newfound relationship with Josh Smith, a remarkable man who is the picture of redemption, who has done exactly what we ought to all be doing, which is take the circumstances of our life and turn them back to serve other people. He has done. He's a remarkable example of that, and I think it's a testimony to our state and to those in this community that so many people are standing here, from county mayor, city mayor, elected officials. Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally's here. So I wrote these on a card because I could never remember them all. You're right, Mayor. It's my privilege to announce the names of the people that work with me every day in the General Assembly. And here's why it's so important this year. Here's why it's so important at this event. Because 20 years ago, when I started this reentry and understanding of the criminal justice system like I had never understood it before, there began to well up within me a desire to have an impact with it. And this year, we're bringing forth legislation, this criminal justice reform, that I believe is terrifically important to the future of the state of Tennessee. And the men and women of the General Assembly have a key role to play. Obviously, they will be the ones who determine exactly what that law looks like, and if it gets passed, and if it gets brought forth in a way that will substantively impact people's lives. So, as I call your name, would you just raise your hand? Senator Becky Massey, Senator Richard Briggs, Representative Justin Lafferty, Representative Dave Wright, Representative Eddie Manis. I saw him there. Is Representative Sam McKenzie?
Right here.
Yes, sir. Representative Michael Curcio. Saw him walk up. Who did I miss? Oh, boy, that's good. I'm glad I missed that. And Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally, who has been a tremendous, there are a lot of people in this crowd actually that have spoken into my lives in different ways, and he certainly has as a mentor to help me understand this new job. But I'm proud of the opportunity to work together with the members of the General Assembly to change this. But I'm also proud there's so much more represented here. Partnerships are represented here. Tony Parker, the Commissioner of the Department of Correction, is here. Our Tennessee, Tony and I started, but well before I became governor, talking about this subject and how we can do this in correction differently, and how we can improve the processes that we have so that we can make life better for those that are coming out of prison, so that we will make life better for all of Tennessee by doing that. Tennessee Housing Development Agency, that portion of the state is represented here. There's just tremendous partnership that I'm as excited about this type of work as just about anything I get to do in this role that I have here. I see Randy Boyd here too, president of the university here, that is such a partner in all things in this community. So I'll close with this. Thursday night, so the guy who started Men of Valor, his name is Carl Carlson. He passed away a few years ago. Really, that's why I get emotional standing up here. It is unfathomable for me to think about what he would think about what was happening here. When he started this little Men of Valor ministry some 20-something years ago, just a couple of guys and a few little men in prison, and what it's come to. But he introduced me to a man that was coming out of prison that I befriended, and he became a mentee of mine. And so we had dinner last Thursday night at Wild Wings and watched ball game, which we do on a regular basis, because he's been out for 10 years and he's one of my dear friends. And so we don't get together to mentor mentee anymore. We get together because we're friends. And I told him I was coming here, and we talked about where he is in his life and transformation, and how he's got his custody of his kids, and he's 10 years now working in the job that he's in, and he's been promoted, and now he's moving to another area, and he's going to get to operate in another branch. And he just sitting there telling me what all's happening in his life. And it was a great reminder to me that, and he met Men of Valor in prison and began a process of reentry after multiple incarcerations. He came and went and came and went and came and went from prison, which is what happens to people who have no support when they get out. They go right back in. And he committed crime after crime after crime until somebody intersected his life and said, you can re-enter in a different way and it won't have to be like this anymore. And he did, and it isn't, and it's a perfect example that I had just this week with why what is happening here is so powerful. Those are more remarks than I normally make in a place like this, but I'm grateful for everybody who has come together to make this important thing happen. And most importantly is Josh Smith. He is the one who has taken his life's experiences and decided that he is going to use them for good, and that he is going to be the picture of redemption, that he knows like none of us know how important it is and how powerful it is. And this community and this state, and frankly this country, as he's become a national advocate for criminal justice reform, we could all learn a thing or two from men like Josh Smith. So thank you, Josh.
I wasn't emotional until I saw Governor get out of his car. You know, it's emotional because I don't deserve to be here. First, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. There's too many of you to thank. I'm not going to know the names, and because I'm going to miss most of you. But from fellow business leaders to politicians, they don't like being called politicians, but to just fellow friends that have come out to support this project, thank you. You know, most people don't know intimately what my family and I have been through. Most know me as around here as a business leader, somebody that's gained some success, a lot of employees, and just some really cool things in business. But few know really where all that started. It was 18 years ago, this month, just 2 days ago, that I was released from prison. I was just spent 6 months in a county jail because that's what they considered our halfway house. And my wife drove me around when I got out, went to the halfway house for 3 days, begging for a $6 an hour job. No one willing to give me a chance. I begged the place that I went 3 times and just told them, I promise you I'll do better than anybody else you got. Give me a chance. If you don't like me, fire me. Right after that, when I was released from that halfway house, my wife and my 2 children at the time, I have 4 beautiful children now, we were kicked out of our housing. They were in government housing on food stamps, and they were kicked out because you can't be a felon living in government housing. The challenges of housing for me were big. Fortunately, I had a father-in-law that allowed us to move in the back room of his 1,200 square foot house, where my wife and I and 2 children stayed for 6 months, saving, scraping, scrounging. And then because of my record, we couldn't rent an apartment. So we ended up living in a trailer 30 minutes outside of town that we could find for $400 a month. These are some of the issues and the details of my life that most don't understand when you just look at my net worth. The issues and so many other roadblocks to somebody like myself that's made a mistake at 21 years old with drugs. Those consequences hold so many back from ever being able to really see or experience any true success in life. I want to share some statistics with you that I hope are as shocking to you as they were me since my time on the governor's task force. You know, in 1980, there were 5,000 people incarcerated in the state of Tennessee. You know how many there are now? Over 20,000. 70,000 people on probation and parole. We spend over $1.1 billion of our state's money on TDOC. Yet, with all these new laws and the money spent, our crime rate has effectively not changed. Why not? Here's a local statistic that blew me away. Of all the large metro counties in our state, Knox County has the highest recidivism rate. That's the rate at which people go back to prison after they get out. Memphis and Shelby County is at 30%, while Knox County is at over 74%. Now think about that. So many people ask me why, and I'll tell you there's way too many reasons to list as I'm standing here, but I'll tell you one reason. I've been to Shelby County. Matter of fact, I was there when the governor was there at a symposium, and it's how our community responds to people that come through those situations, how they treat people after they make a mistake. In Shelby County, they've understood, and they gather around them. There's many organizations and things like that. There's programs like this. And in our county, there's just not a lot. There's not a lot of support. You know, it surprises people to hear me say that I'm actually, I believe in being tough on crime. I'm an unapologetic conservative, and I believe that if people violate society, they should have to pay the consequences of their actions. I don't waver on that. It's the only way to a civil society. What I don't agree with is a society that continues to hold the offense and mistake that somebody's made against them for their entire life, never allowing them to recover. I don't agree with never being able to fully pay for your crimes. No matter how much you were, how old you were when you made your mistake, how much you've learned, how much you've tried to improve, yet never in our society are you ever able to come out from under that cloud. Consequences like not being able to rent an apartment, coach kids in a little league, attend your kids' field trip, not able to get professional licenses, and so many more things that most of you wouldn't even be able to imagine if I sat here and listed all the things that I've struggled with over the years. Imagine this, until my pardon last month from the president, I could buy any apartment in this area, but I couldn't rent one in it. Now think about that. I've learned that to fix this problem with our criminal justice system, it starts right here with our community. What you're seeing right here. We have to understand as a community it's better to help those coming through our criminal justice system and give those that want it a pathway to have a different life. You know, our community has to elect legislators and other government leaders that understand that we have to be smart on crime, not just tough. And frankly, I'm thankful for a governor and a small percentage of legislators that I've met that truly understand this and are brave enough to challenge what has become the status quo, tough on crime. That attitude that has got us right where we're at now. I'm not a lawmaker, so I can't make law. I'm not a mayor, a city council person, or county commissioner or sheriff that can make policy that can help change the local criminal justice system. But what I am is a citizen. And thanks to many that are here today, as well as President Trump, I'm now a voting citizen. And as citizens, we have to support these policymakers and leaders that are willing to step up and make changes to this broken system. We also have to support programs like this one right here that's going to be happening. We have to surround this group that is coming in and leasing this Men of Valor, and we have to give them the support. It's more than just them. It's getting the community involved to make a difference. And one thing I can assure you is this is only the start of my investment into this. It's only the start. My family and I plan on doing much more, not just in this county, but in this state and in this country with regards to criminal justice system. Can I just be honest, Frank? God has put us in a position to be able to do so. I'm so excited that our foundation is partnering with Men of Valor as they'll be renting this complex and providing support for men as they transition out of prison, providing affordable housing, training, mentorship, job placement, and so many other things to get them back on their feet. These are our neighbors. Now, you heard me talk about the recidivism rate. You want to know what the recidivism rate for the men is that come through the Men of Valor program, that come and stay here for a year, where people support them, help them? It's 8.5%. This is a ministry that's been doing this over 20 years, okay? Solid ministry that really cares about the people that come through here. Do you see why we need this in our community? This starts with things just like this. And when we do this, it means less crime, less victims, and a truly safer community. I want to give a special thank you to Governor Lee for being a rare governor to step up and lead on this. When I heard him the first time talk about it, I'm glad that Glenn Jacobs, Mayor Jacobs, wherever he's at, he's usually tall, you can see him wherever. There he is. I remember when he was at my house and just got sworn in, he goes, "Hey, you gotta meet this guy, Bill Lee." And I said, "Well, Glenn, I didn't even come to any of your fundraiser stuff or any of your stuff. You know, I don't do this political stuff." And he goes, "You need to meet the guy. He's different. Trust me, he's different." And I'm so glad that we went on that Tuesday morning and he introduced me to him. And I, like you, Governor, I am hopeful that some of the bills being considered in the legislature right now, frankly, are only the beginning of stuff to come for our state. I want to thank Commissioner Tony Parker, the TDOC, and his executive staff. I mean, these are people that I've got a chance to meet over the last couple of years. They've even opened it up for me to travel with them and go into these prisons and see firsthand. And I'm going to tell you, their desire, I've been able to see it right in front of my eyes, their desire to change the status quo on how corrections looks. And I look forward to continue to working with you guys in this effort. TDOC has also offered to bring men who are in a training program right now I saw Warden Parrish here just a minute ago from Morgan County to come and work here on this building to do some of the different things. Absolutely. Some of these men could literally be preparing their next transition place. And I want to thank the city of Knoxville for your support. You know, being able to, when we took on this project and we did it, we felt like we'd almost be going it alone. And to be able to see so many people step up, including the city, has been great. And lastly, I want to thank my wife and children. My wife's not a felon, but she's had to deal with the consequences of being married to one. She stuck with me through all of it and remained by my side for 25 years. All the struggle of finding a job, keeping one, growing a business. She's been the support system for me that without it, I can't imagine where I'd be. My children have also had to deal with the shame of my past. So many things, such as where we had to live, not having their father attend certain events, certain field trips that I just came up with excuses that I couldn't go on because I couldn't fill out the background check, or different coaching activities. They've all been a part of the challenges, the struggles, and the effort that it's taken to get us here. And now they continue to love me and support me as I give my time, our money, and our resources away to others with projects like this. I'll close with this. A few years back, I read a book called It Starts With Why by Simon Sinek. After that, after reading that book, I made a why statement for my company, Master Service Companies. And that purpose statement or why statement was to be a unique service company that radically serves our community. That company tripled in size after focusing on our why. With the new national service company I just launched, called Wow My Garage, which is just a block away from here. We just bought the building, just got everything going, and which will help employ some of the people coming through this program. Our mission is to impact the lives of others by operating a profitable garage remodeling company while taking care of our customers along the way. I read that book again just a few years ago and decided to make a personal why, a personal purpose statement. And that statement is to leave a footprint on this earth that won't soon be erased. I want to thank all of you for coming out and supporting a part of my personal mission statement. And I hope this is just the start of what we can do together as a community in this state and in this country. And I truly believe together we can lead in this effort. So I'd like to ask Raul Lopez, Governor Lee, Lieutenant Governor McNally, Mayor India Kincannon, Vice Mayor Gwen McKenzie, Commissioner Tony Parker. I don't know if David Roush made it, TBI Director. Did Tim Burchett make it? I haven't seen. Is Tim? Okay. Tim Burchett, Mayor Glenn Jacobs, Reverend Kessler, Pastor Darrell Arnold. If we can go over here and do the shovels.
Thanks for letting me in.
I didn't know that you were Metro citizen. So I spent 3 years in
Unfortunately, I did the same thing with they were all in the P2. And, sorry.
All right, ready? 1, 3, 2, 1. We're going to close in prayer. I got one of my dad had. Father, we're grateful for the opportunity to be with you on today and to be here in this wonderful place, God. I thank you, Lord, that your word is coming to pass on today. Your word teaches us, Lord, that our call and yours is to sit together. And for that we pray. We pray, oh God, that your blessings will rest upon this property, that your presence will be obvious every single day, that with every new morning will come a brand new person. Bless the labor of the hands of the people that will serve these men every single day. May there be no need unmet in this place. And may you, oh God, draw those to you perhaps that don't even know you. We love you. We give you praise. We call favor to go before this place. Goodness and mercy to follow. May you remind us that Christ lives in us, which is the hope of glory. We are overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony.